Welcome back to JR Pro Shop, man. You got Jimoo, you got Jungo. What are we doing today? Are we doing another challenge?
Boots is injured, walking with a cane, as you can see. So we're doing an arsenal vid. One-handed for me, two-handed for Jimoo, and we're gonna walk you through our balls that we take to a tournament and, explain each and every ball and why it's in our arsenal.
We've done quite a few arsenal vids on this channel in the past, but this one's gonna be tailored a little bit more towards the tournament bowler. So the advanced bowlers, please listen up. Even if you're not there yet and wanna get there, watch as well.
As you can see with our 8-ball arsenals, they're gonna cover all the patterns. So no matter what the pattern is, we're gonna have a ball or two that's gonna work, right? And each ball is gonna play off each other in a good way, set up that way on purpose. And we're here to explain it to you in depth and show you on the lanes. This is Jungo's current arsenal. My bag is mainly built for sport compliant conditions and harder oil patterns, right? So we're gonna start with a urethane ball or a level, really early, really controllable. And as you can see, the level is about 5 more boards than the urethane ball here. So I gotta move my feet a little left, gives me a little bit more shape, a little bit more hook. But sometimes you really do need that traditional urethane to really hook early and be really, really smooth down lane and control that fresh oil and the first game or two. So these two balls play really well off each other, right? This one is really good parallel with the boards, nice and straight right down the boards. This one can have a little bit of a swing to it when you gotta open up the lane a little bit to the right. But as soon as the lane calls for you to move your feet a little further left and belly it more than a few boards, I would say, then you gotta get into balls like the phase 2 and the origin kind of thing. Right away, these two balls, really good to start with on the fresh, on medium to shorter conditions, right? And then as the lanes break down, then we get into our symmetricals and our big reactive balls after that. So we were bowling on gateway arch, 42 feet, not too difficult, not too easy. And I would say these 3 balls here in the middle look the best. The urethane balls are just a little bit too early, not enough angle in the back end, where these 3 looked really good, kind of playing in the middle of the lane, just left a 3rd arrow. So as you can see, once you get into these 4 balls right here, very similar in the amount of boards covered and the amount of hook, right? But the shapes are so much different, right? We got a phase 2, really early, really controllable, symmetrical solid, right? And then we have an origin, asymmetrical solid. So these 2 balls are gonna be really smooth early. They're gonna pick up and they're gonna hook a lot more than a level and an IQ 78. Playing in the middle of the lane on the fresh with these, maybe on a longer medium pattern or a long pattern, these are gonna work really well. And then these 2 here are a little longer and a little more responsive down lane on the friction. So these 4 balls are really gonna play off each other really well. Very similar in hook, but the shapes are different, right? And each condition is gonna call for a slightly different shape. So that's why I like these 4 balls right here. Can really play with the shapes and really dial in my ball reaction for the middle portion of blocks. So these 4 balls right here in the middle, these are gonna be the most used balls in my bag. 2 very early and predictable solids here. So these are kind of balls I like to throw in the first 1 to 4 games. If the urethane doesn't really hook enough, I'm gonna use one of these 2 for sure. So it's gonna be one of these 4 in the first couple games. And then in the middle block, we're going to these 4, right? So these are gonna be earlier, smoother. And then right after that, the Ion Pro Solid is gonna travel down lane further than these 2 for sure, more back end, but still controllable, right? It's got that solid cover stock and it's not gonna go crazy off the back end, but still gonna get down the lane pretty easy. Right after that, the Identity. Very surprising to me. It's very angular down lane as an asymmetrical pearl, but it seems to come in really handy at the end of blocks after I'm done using my tanks. So once I'm done with the Origin and the Ion Pro Solid, right, I need a little bit more angle, I'm going to the Identity here, right? This ball's gotten a lot of use in my bag, especially on longer conditions. So this is kind of medium to end of my bag, medium to end of the block right here. And then at the end here, we got the IQ AI. This ball is really long, doesn't hook that much, and quite angular down lane for me. So this ball is for like the burn. Very end of the block, gotta move your feet way to the left. Gotta find some fresh oil and really need that really hard kick in the back to kick out those corner pins. This one definitely hooks the least, goes the longest, and the sharpest. And of course, last but not least, the spare ball, right? This is my favorite ball in my bag. So as you can see, my bag, I got 4 solids, 1 pearl, 1 hybrid, and a solid urethane. So my bag is definitely tailored for a little bit smoother, a little more control, because I'm definitely bowling on harder patterns more than I'm bowling on easy. So I really need that control. I need that early grab, and I need that predictability throughout the block. And then, so at the end of my bag, I got 2 angular balls. So 2 out of 8 are angular, and the other 4 are very controllable with slightly different shapes. And also you can see I'm erring towards slightly stronger balls as well, because usually harder pattern sport conditions have more oil, right? There's just more volume of oil on these harder conditions, maximum 8 game blocks. So it's very rare that I get to use the IQ AI in a 4 or 6 game block. So definitely for me, I'm erring towards stronger bowling balls for regionals and PBA tournaments, stuff like that. These 8, definitely what I'm bringing to a short, medium condition tournament. But if I know I'm bowling on long, I'm probably gonna throw these 2 out, throw in a couple reactives that hook a little later. So I will switch out balls depending on the pattern. But if I'm not sure the pattern or if it's short or medium, these are the 8 balls I'm bringing for sure. All right, so halfway through the vid, about to switch over to Jimoo, so you can stop watching now. How many balls in your arsenal? Let me know down in the comments below. If you just bowl league, you have 2-3 balls, let me know. If you're an avid tournament bowler and have a spending problem, have 40, let me know also. Let me know your arsenal down in the comments below.
All right, Jimoo's here, your favorite 2-hander, as you already know. Don't worry, you can keep watching, it's fine, Jung's gone. Let's talk about my arsenal for a tournament. You'll see a lot of similarities between my arsenal and Jung's, but there's a few key differences, so we'll get to that. First off, we have the IQ78U and the Hammer 78D. These are both urethane bowling balls, both legal for all PBA Tour events. If you saw some of our previous Arsenal vids, I would have a pitch black from Storm and a purple Hammer from Hammer. For regional tournaments that I will bowl, I have to throw these 2, but if it were up to me and I could throw any urethane I want, I would make sure that my purple Hammer's in here. Very similar, you wanna throw these balls on the fresh. As a 2-hander with a lot of revs, I often try pulling these balls out first on any pattern, doesn't matter if it's short, medium, or long, just to see if the shot's there. I know I'm very comfortable throwing the urethane balls, so if my line's there with one of these, I'm most likely gonna be throwing that for a while. Very subtle differences between the 2 urethanes. If you watch our ultimate guide to urethane vid, you'll notice that I put the IQ78U as a slower and less hook potential overall, when the 78D hooked a little bit later and had a little bit more boards covered. They're a really good 1-2 combo. I can go from the 78U to the 78D, and I don't try to say that back and forth because it's really annoying to say, but I usually start with this one, then go to this one. Moving on to the balls I don't throw very often, also known as the reactive balls. Quite a few here, so let's get into each of them. First up, the Storm Ion Max. No, I don't throw it because it smells good. This ball is my strong tank. It's not very often that I'll have to throw a very strong bowling ball, but just in case I need to, I have one. A really strong cover stock on it, and it's able to roll early, be controlled, and cover a lot of boards. Bowling here on Gateway Arch, you can see that this ball offered a very smooth motion. At times, this ball does hook a little too early, especially if the lanes themselves hook early. This ball sometimes doesn't come out of my bag because it burns up its energy and doesn't have much in the back end. You'll see I left a light split over there. That was because this ball hooked really early and didn't save enough energy for the back. Moving on from there, I have one of my favorite bowling balls, which is the Attention Star S2. This ball from Roto Grip has been really good for me in the transition games. So after we're done with the fresh, we can move to the transition, and this is one of the first balls I pull. It's an ASIM hybrid, which means it'll get down the lane pretty good, and then it'll also have a lot of energy with that ASIM core. So when I want to move a little bit further inside the pattern, use my rev rate to my advantage, I will use this ball and trust that I will get back to the pocket. I've won a couple tournaments with this ball. I know it's controlled, I trust it a lot. Once I have a ball that I trust, I know it's gonna be good. Speaking of a ball that we trust, this is my 3rd installment of my Phase 2. I've had many Phase 2s. I know Frankie had like an outrageous amount, but this is my 3rd one, and that just speaks to how controlled it is. This is my benchmark ball. It's a symmetric solid, which means it's very smooth. It can be used on the fresh, transition, and sometimes the burn. I know what this ball is gonna do when I throw it. Whenever I get a new ball, I actually compare it to the Phase 2 so I can see what it's like in reaction shape. Earlier, later, smoother, sharper, can cover more boards, less boards. You always refer off of your benchmark ball. On today's condition, the Phase 2 actually wasn't hooking as much as the asymmetric stuff, so I had to jump further right, closer to where I was throwing the urethane balls. It had a really nice smooth shape, but unlike the urethane balls that roll early and kind of just keep rolling, the Phase 2 can hold some of its energy and retain it until it hits the pins. Moving on from there, we got the Evoke Hysteria from Motive. This has been one of my favorite balls recently, especially for later in the day when I need to jump in, but I can't really use a sim pearl. I need an asim pearl. It has a strong enough engine to have it recover into the pocket, and when the lanes get messy, pretty burnt, especially in the later games, I'm gonna go to a ball like this. And finally, one of my new favorites, the IQ AI. Many of you know that I loved my IQ Tour Ruby because it was a symmetric pearl, really controllable, especially when the lanes got really fried up. That was kind of my emergency ball, especially when I didn't know what the lanes were giving me. Now with the IQ AI, it's a symmetric hybrid, but that doesn't matter too much because of the AI technology. It gets really far down the lane, pretty sharp in the back, but it retains so much energy as it goes through the pins. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. I don't know what to do with any of my bowling balls, and I need something that's gonna get down there and trust that it's gonna go through the pins properly. This is the ball I go to. I'm excited to keep trying it out because I've loved what I've seen so far. Finally, just to show that I can make some spares, I pulled out the Belmo Gold spare ball. We're Team Belmo here at JR Pro Shop, obviously, one of my favorite bowlers. I've had this ball for a while. It's got some dents in it, totally not because I hit the gutter, but because I've been using it for so long, hitting so many spares. One interesting fact about my spare ball, it's a conventional fit with no inserts. I've tested both inserts and non-inserts in my bowling ball, especially for the spare ball, because I'm just trying to find what feels most comfortable. And for me, I like the feeling of no grips in the spare ball. I feel like I can dig all the way to my second knuckle, and I felt more controlled throwing a spare shot with that. That's how I used to bowl before I got to the fingertip grip. So all my strike balls are fingertip with quad classics from Turbo, but my spare ball is conventional. Mentally, it also helps knowing that my spare ball feels different than my strike ball. It's kind of a physical cue I use, so I know that I'm throwing a spare shot as opposed to a strike shot. This is my arsenal for tournaments. Many balls switch in and out throughout the year, depending how much I've used them. Maybe I need to replace one, but ultimately it will follow the similar formula of a couple urethanes, some asymmetrics, some symmetrics, solid, hybrid, and pearl. And always bring a spare ball, especially if you have a high rev rate. My bowling balls are more about control. As a two-hander with a lot of rev rate, sometimes it's hard to control my shapes, and I'm trying to look for bowling balls that I trust. And along those same lines, one tip for all of you out there, regardless of how many balls are in your arsenal, you need to find bowling balls you trust. Every single one of these bowling balls, I feel like if I get lined up properly, I could shoot a 300. Having trust in your shapes, what you know your bowling balls are gonna do, is so crucial. Because the last thing you want is, in a very important game, in a very important tournament, that you don't know which ball is gonna do what for you. Practice with each of your bowling balls, see what they're like compared to your benchmark ball, and that way you'll become a better bowler by knowing your arsenal just a little bit better. Let's bring Jung back in, and let's wrap this up.
All right, wrapping up here. One major takeaway from each of us, and for me, it is balls must have different shapes, right? It's okay if they hook the same amount. It's okay if they cover the same amount of boards, right? But they must have different shapes, right? Because then you can manipulate your ball speed and your line and your rotation in order to get the ball reaction that you want. So all 8 balls, they must have different shapes, and then you can attack any pattern, that is for sure.
And tip from Jimoo, a bit different from Jungo's, but you shouldn't have a favorite bowling ball. Throughout the tournament, you might have to use all of them. Having one favorite bowling ball is dangerous because the rest of them are not your favorites. By making sure that you have no favorite, you can be confident in all of them. That way, you're throwing the right ball for the shot and not necessarily your favorite ball. Once again, so many bowling balls out there. All of them are good, but it's not about if the ball's good. It's about matching the right ball, the right shape to the condition out there.
All right, if you are missing a piece in your arsenal, need a fresh piece, shop.bufabowling.com, promo code JungoBarks, 10% off your order at checkout. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next vid.
it.